Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, the Senate race in Maine, you guys may have heard, it's kind of shaping up to be a referendum on the direction of the Democratic Party. It's kind of a, you know, kind of a fight between the progressive wing of the party and the corporatist, centrist part of the party. So anyway, it really shows to how out of touch Democratic leadership is with the voters that they're supposed to represent. Because as you guys may know, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer publicly endorsed Janet Mills for the seat. So she is the current governor of that state. And, this is after he pushed her into the race. She is running because he pushed her to get in, to jump in, even though Graham Platner was already running and people were very excited about him and he was doing well in the polls. So that pissed off a lot of Democrats who were excited about him, who were backing Graham Platner as a progressive. And even though some of Platner's old Reddit posts and, a questionable tattoo from his military days came back to haunt him, voters are still backing Platner. Say that 10 times fast. Backing Platner, not blacking him, they're backing him by a large margin. So take a look at this. So this poll, this was conducted a few weeks ago. And as you guys can see, Platner has a 20-point lead over Mills. And so I want to show you this next slide because this shows where his support is primarily coming from. So take a look at this. For anyone who can't make this out, women support Platner by a 22-point margin. So you would think, women would go for the female candidate, but no, 22 points, they're going for Platner over Mills. And then men support him by a 19% margin. So women are even more supportive of him than the men. And then if you look at the age breakdown, that really tells the whole story. So with voters under 50, Platner is beating Mills by 60 points. Even in the 50 to 64 age range, 64 years old age range, he's up by 21. So it's really only the 65 and older group that's pretty evenly split between these two candidates. Here's why this is an important part of the story. Mills, as you may know or may have heard, she's 77. So by the time the election comes, she's going to be 79 years old. Voters are done with this. They are done with the gerontocracy. So I want to highlight this point by playing for you something that this was in the focus group conducted by Sarah Longwell's group. So this came out, I believe it was last weekend. And this was specifically Maine Democratic voters. So these are the people who are going to be voting in the primary. And here's what they had to say about Platner and Mills. So take a listen. This is just part of it. So I encourage everyone to go listen to the full thing, but very illuminating.
Military, there's a certain culture, it's very macho and it's very, tough guy. And I think his ideas at that time were coming from a place that is not uncommon in that culture, right? Like others have said, I do think his apologies are genuine.
I think he has a strong ability to stand up to MAGA and Republicans. And yeah, I guess that kind of resonates with me just in terms of is he going to disappoint me again? Or it just makes me a little less trusting. But at the same time, I'm well, what's the alternative? Susan Collins, I don't trust her at all. And I'm still certainly inspired by Platner's platform.
I also would like to see someone who's a little more aggressive, and I like that in Platner. I would like to know more about his platform, but I really feel that he's aggressive and that, he might make more change. I don't care about the mudslinging, the tattoos, and the Reddit comments, things that were foolish in our youth. And we've all sometimes changed our perspective as we age. I think right now I'm kind of rooting for him a little more.
The tattoo when he was young and drunk, I think all of us, or certainly I've done some really stupid things when I was younger that I regret. I think most of us do. I think his apology for that seems genuine.
I haven't heard a lick from Mills. What does she stand for? What is she running? What murmurings of a platform? I have no idea. I just know she's running. But Platner, it seems like I'm getting something every day. Like they're giving more hints. It's like, what's this guy for? What's he trying to push for? Where he's going to stand and where he's not going to yield. And you need somebody who's not going to yield.
Well, I can't. She just, like, she has led our state in so many positive ways. It's like, yes, just buy the beach house and retire.
I like Janet Mills. She has some ties to our community. She's been here before. I was disappointed that she doesn't just want to go out on whatever it is as the governor and that she feels the need to come back in to the race.
It's ludicrous for somebody who's going to be 79 years old if she becomes the U.S. Senator for Maine. It's time to retire and give the mantle to younger people.
I mean, if you see all these people who are in Congress, right, and they're 77, 79, 80, whatever, and they all seem healthy, well, at some point the odds are going to fail one of these people, right? And they're going to drop dead and, they're going to have to go through a special election.
Here's the truth is that Mills is just too dang old, Platner, on the other hand, has got the age and he's got the energy and he's got the potential for, when you talk about him being like the next person, you want him to be young because you really do want someone who's not just going to serve one term.
I like Governor Mills. I voted for her every election that she's ran. But does she meet the moment at hand? To me, no. It's not an issue of age. I would suspect a lot of us in this room would go, Bernie's amazing. Bernie's super old. It's older than Mills. So it's not an issue of age. It's an issue of message.
So, like I said, that was just a small sampling of what the participants had to say. I encourage everyone to go over, check that out over on the podcast, over on the Bulwark, or here on YouTube. And Longwell said that when they pressed all of these people on who they would vote for, they always ask them, like, if the election is held today and you had to make a decision today, who would you vote for? Every single one of the participants said that they would vote for Platner. So the Democratic Party doesn't get it. The party leaders are completely out of touch. They do not get it. People want real change. They are done with this nibble around the edges bullshit that they've been trying to sell us. And this is a moment where Democratic voters, even, the normie vote blue no matter who crowd, they've realized that hasn't gotten us anywhere. Because as long as we signal to the Democratic leaders that, we'll just do whatever you want, we'll vote for whatever shitty candidate you force down our throats, they can then just ignore us, right? They can ignore what we need. They can continue to pander to their corporate masters. I mean, I can't stand Dr. Phil anymore, ever since he went MAGA, but he does have some good sayings, and he does say, you teach people how to treat you. And up until now, we've taught the Democratic Party that they can treat us however they want, second-class citizens, give everything to their corporate donors, nothing for us, and it doesn't matter, right? We're just going to bend over and say, thank you, sir, may I have another? The masses have woken up. They realize that has only gotten us 2 terms of Donald Trump. And people are starting to look at policies too. Janet Mills has done some questionable things. She vetoed a bill. I want to say it had to do with workers or something. She's done some things which tell us that she is about corporate donors. That's who she sides with. So did she stand up to Trump on the whole transgender issue? Yes. We cannot anymore fall into this trap of, if they fight Donald Trump, they must be progressive. That's not what it means to be progressive. If you are truly progressive, it means you stand up for workers, that you are more for the workers than the owners. It means that, you're not against owners, you're not against small businesses, but you are more for small businesses than you are massive corporations that are taking over the country and getting rid of any kind of competition so that they can just crank up the prices and we have no choice. Right? You are for workers' rights. You are for health care for all. You are for equal rights for all people. You are for a living wage and for helping people out and making their lives easier and not just making billionaires even wealthier. And so, yeah, Janet Mills has done a couple of things and, vetoed things that she shouldn't have and pushed for things that she shouldn't have. So people are done with it. People are done with it. And the fact that Schumer pushed her to get in after seeing the polls, it just shows you that he is also a corporate puppet. And that is why they do it. Understand it's not just, oh, he's just out of it and, he knows her and so he's going to support her and he's afraid that a progressive can't win. No, it's not about that. It's about the fact that if they allow too many progressives into Congress, the old guard is done. The days of, corporate control over our government is done. The days of, gambling with our futures is over, allowing them to get away with polluting our air and our water and our land. Those days are over. The people in there who are using insider knowledge to do insider trading in the stock market, those days are over. We'll probably have term limits. We will probably pack the Supreme Court. They don't want that. They do not want any of that. Make no mistake, because it just unmasks all of them, and they're not ever going to be, your Marjorie Taylor Greenes and your Nancy Pelosi's who come into Congress with a humble amount of money and end up walking out multi-millionaires. So that's why they all hate Bernie. That's why they never want any of his bills to pass. That whole scam that they've played for years of, oh, Bernie can't even get anything passed. Yeah, I wonder why. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.